Right then, hi guys and welcome back to another episode of The Cruel Wall, and yes, we're back. The Malaysian Grand Prix for the final time this weekend. A shame to see it go. A great circuit, and this race proved what a good circuit it is and can provide some really entertaining racing. So, be sad to see it go, especially when it's getting swapped with Paul Ricard, the world's shittest circuit for next year, but oh well. But the news before we kick off, of course, is the main news that Danny Kvyat has been dropped by Toro Rosso, we believe indefinitely, forever, we hope, and was replaced by Pierre Gasly this weekend. So that's a great effort. Toro Rosso finally realised how shit Danny Kvyat is, and there's only one thing we can do with that, and that's to celebrate with the party poppers. Yes, good stuff. Just burnt me hand. God, not for children, them, are they? Fuck's sake. Anyway, so with a slightly painful hand now, I'm going to do the crawl wall. So yes, the race winner was Max Verstappen, Maxi boy. I love you to pieces, Max. You've had a shit season this season. And every time that you've DNF'd, Ricciardo's got on the podium or even won it. So, yeah, it's time for you to have your just desserts, my friend. And you certainly have had them now. This weekend, you've won the race. Great stuff, great result. You absolutely dominated the race in true Mercedes fashion, I must say. The only question mark is what would have happened if the Ferraris had been up there. We don't know, but you've got to surmise that Red Bull had done equally as well. Mercedes just weren't there this race. So yeah, nonetheless, a great result. Max qualified P3. Of course, Raikkonen didn't start. We'll get to him. So started P2 in theory, although lined up third on the grid, and then did a brilliant overtake on Hamilton and pulled away. That was it. Game over, over and done with. It was around 9 seconds all the time difference, gap between Verstappen and Hamilton. And there we go, ended up winning the race by about 11 seconds in the end. So a great, great, great result. And yeah, well done, Maxi boy. So of course, the only thing I can do with Max Verstappen is give him a solid 10 points. Well done, Max. Congratulations. I'm so, so pleased for you. Finally, you've got some actual points and not just sympathy points like last weekend. Anyway, next up is Lewis Hamilton. P2 after qualifying pole, just by half a tenth ahead of Kimi Raikkonen in qualifying. So, fortunate to get that pole position. A good lap by Hamilton, it must be said. The Mercedes wasn't really looking strong in practice sessions, but it looks like over one lap, it was quite good. But over a race pace as well, it proved that it just couldn't deliver this weekend. But nonetheless, of course, Hamilton, with the problems that the Ferraris had, mainly Vettel, he has extended his championship lead now to 34 points. So it's looking like the championship's over. But I suppose there's still 4 races left. So, you know, or 5 races. Fuck knows. How many's left? 5 races. 5 races left. I ain't got a clue. I don't give a shit anymore. But yeah, so it only takes 1 DNF. And then, you know, you're within like 14 points and whatever. So it's all still to play for, I suppose, in theory. Bad luck has to come Mercedes' way at some point. But yeah, nonetheless, solid drive by Hamilton. P2, yeah, it was alright. Qualified pole, yeah, it was alright. Just a slight whinge here and there, as usual. But, you know, I think he realised he didn't have the pace to win early on this race. So, but not to worry, Lewis Hamilton, you can have a solid 9 points. I'm not going to give you 10 because I don't like you. So you can have a minus point because I don't like you. Mind you, it wasn't a 10 out of 10 race. You didn't win. You qualified pole, you didn't win. Tough shit, 9 points. Anyway, next up, Daniel Ricciardo, P3 after qualifying P4, I believe. Did a solid job. Was in the shadow of his teammate though this weekend, wasn't it? Now Maxi boy could actually deliver and keep, you know, a car that had reliability. Proves he can win it. So yeah, Raikkonen in the Ricciardo in the shadow of his teammate, finishing 22.5 seconds behind him. Yeah, it's quite a distance that, isn't it? That's a pit stop. So yeah, not a great race by Ricciardo, but double podium finish for Red Bull. So yeah, that really solidifies their third place in the constructors now. Force India were threatening until they decided to self-destruct on several occasions, and then that went out the window. But yeah, nonetheless, Daniel Ricciardo, a solid P3. Not the best we've seen of him though this season so far. So Daniel Ricciardo, you're going to get, I'm going to give you, yeah, I'm going to give you 6.5 because I don't think you deserve a 7, but I think 6 is a bit too low. So 6.5 for Daniel Ricciardo. Sebastian Vettel P4 was disqualified from the cruel wall, and he is an arsehole. So, but I will go into his race because, of course, he didn't qualify. Started last, and yeah, 20th. Yeah, it wasn't a brilliant qualifying for him, was it? Couldn't qualify because of a turbo issue, I believe it was in the end. So yeah, but an amazing recovery to get P4. Looks like he was going to catch up to Ricciardo and overtake him for P3. Got really close, had one chance at it, and then ended up 15 seconds back, would you believe, in the end, in the final 5 laps that he didn't attack. He ended up 15 seconds behind. So, yeah, a bit of a strange one, that. His tyres had just gone off, and I think he thought, well, I'm safe for 4th, so can't argue with that. Great recovery, drive, only lost 6 points in the end this weekend, and it could have been a whole lot more, especially if Hamilton had won, you know. Hamilton had won, Vettel would have had to finish 2nd to get a 7-point deficit. So, you know, Hamilton not winning has helped Vettel, but Vettel did a great drive nonetheless. And then the incident at the end of the race, where Stroll and him collided, and there's some question marks as to whether Vettel needs a new gearbox for the next weekend and possibly a 5-place grid drop. So, if that's true, that is just more shit luck for Vettel, but that's racing. In terms of that incident, I'll go into it now instead of with Stroll, but yeah, what was it? I don't know. I personally think it was 60% Stroll's fault, because Stroll should have checked his mirrors to see if there were any cars overtaking, but at the same time, Vettel should have been aware that Stroll was probably going to go pick some rubber up, so either way. I will blame Stroll more because he should have checked his mirrors, but there's people arguing on Twitter over it right now, and people are just going, oh well, Vettel's a twat. And you're just like, well, that validates your argument totally, doesn't it? By saying he's a twat, but nonetheless, he's disqualified. Next up, P5, Valtteri Bottas. What a lonely race for him. Ended up 46 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. 46 seconds. That's like 2 pit stops. Jesus Christ. Off the pace completely. Qualified P5, finished P5. Shit race. Valtteri Bottas, I'm not going to give you many points at all for that, pal. I'm going to give you 3. 3 points for that, because I think it was just piss poor. Next up, Sergio Perez, qualified P9, finished P6. Great race by Sergio Perez. Didn't really get involved in the incidents that his teammate was. But yeah, still disqualified from the cruel wall, so yeah, no, nothing for him, disqualified. Great drive though, we'll admit, a great drive, but we should have been doing that all season, not dicking around and ramming your teammate off. Next up was Stoffel van Dorn. Great drive by Stoffel. Amazing stuff. Amazing. Great drive. Qualified P7, finished P7. More points for McLaren and, of course, more points for Van Dorn. Looks like he's finally at home at the McLaren team and scoring solidly. You've got to praise McLaren and Honda as well, because the reliability's there now. Double points finishers, or double car finishers, more often than not in the points now as well. So, yeah, my laptop's just gone off. Pissing thing, it's shat itself, honest to God, it's terrible. Bear with me, 2 seconds, I've got all my stats on here. First time that's ever happened. It's a piece of shit, honest to God, it's falling to bits. Anyway, so yeah, Van Dorn, great job, great drive by, and great performance by the team. So, Stoffel Van Dorn, you're going to get another 10 points, mate. You got 7th in Singapore, you got 7th here. Great stuff, that's 12 points, and you've scored more than points than Palmer now. Hallelujah! Anyway, next up, Lance Stroll, P8. Yeah, what do we say about Lance Stroll? Well, he's had his first incident of the season, which could be his fault, and it was after the race. So, yeah, an unusual way to end a race, I must admit, but obviously it was Vettel that came off worst. Yeah, what do we say about Stroll? A great drive, was out in Q2, 12th and 13th, I think they were, somewhere around there. And yeah, ended up P8, so solid drive. He had a battle with his teammate, which didn't end in tears, which I thought it was going to. Yeah, and then the incident at the end, I was blaming him slightly more, but yeah, I'm not going to really knock him off for that, because the FIA deemed it a racing incident, so should I. And Stoffel Van Dorn, not Stoffel Van Dorn, Lance Stroll, you're going to get 7 points. I think you deserve 7. People are going to be in the comments section, I know now, going, well, they took Vettel out at the end. Didn't affect the race results. Don't give a shit. Anyway, next up, P9, Massa, Felipe Massa. Had a battle with his teammate, lost out in the end, though. Massa was behind him all race, pretty much. I think it was off the line that Stroll snuck through and stayed there. Had the battle coming out the pits where Massa could have got the undercut on him. Didn't work out, though, unfortunately. But yeah, 9 points, 2 you know, a double points finish again for the Williams team, which is what they need to solidify their battle for 5th place in the Constructors. With the likes of Haas, Toro Rosso, Renault. I can't remember which order they're in. I'll have a look. The Team Cruel Wall's coming up. I'll go into it in more detail then. But yeah, nonetheless, Massa, alright drive, but outshone by your teammate. And didn't end the race as spectacularly as Lance Stroll, so you're going to get 6 points. Next up was Ocon. Esteban Ocon finishing last of the point scorers with P10. Yeah, qualified incredibly well. P6 was solid, very, very solid effort. And then in the race, he had a bit of a poor start, had the tangle with Massa, and Perez was on his inside, but they didn't touch, thank Jesus for that. But nonetheless, it did put him into the side of Massa. He got front wing damage. They elected not to change the wing, which I suppose, you know, that's just their decision. And then proceeded to get hit by pretty much the whole world. He got took out by Sainz. I don't think that was ever put under investigation, but hit by Sainz, which I would say was Sainz's fault. You looked at the replays at Ocon, firmly around the outside, enough cars width, and that next minute, Bosch is off. And then Massa, he tried overtaking Massa for P9 and got pushed onto the grass at turn 4, is it? I think it is. And yeah, but I mean, he wasn't wholly alongside, so Massa didn't have to give him the room. But yeah, it was just a bit of a war of attritions for him, really. His qualifying pace didn't really deliver in the race with damage and contact and scruffy race, lucky to salvage your point. So, Ocon, you're still disqualified from the Cruel Wall, so that doesn't matter. But yeah, not your best performance anyway. Next up was Alonso. Not really sure what happened with Alonso. He was looking alright for points, you know, he was mixing it around P8, P9, and then I think the pit stops happened, he got stuck behind a few cars, and that was that. The Honda engine couldn't really overtake anything, sadly. But a solid drive nonetheless. Had a bit of a coming together with K-Mag. Yeah, he agrees that Hulkenberg is right with what he says with K-Mag, as in is a bit of a dick. But anyway, that aside, Alonso's race was slightly tarnished, I would say, really. Not tarnished, but out-qualified by Van Dorn and out-raced by Van Dorn this weekend. So, yeah, Van Dorn proving that he's got what it takes now, which is good to see. But Alonso, a quiet race, and yeah, you're going to get... I'm going to give you 6 points, Alonso, because, you know, you were outshone this weekend by Van Dorn. So, you know, we'll see what the future holds for Alonso and whether he'll stay with that team. Who knows? Next up, K-Mag P12. He had a great job of crashing into the whole world, or trying to crash into the whole world, weaving under braking for, you know, everyone, really. Alonso and a couple of others as well, and it was just like, what are you doing, K-Mag? You're not even racing for the points, mate. I mean, I was a big fan of K-Mag when he was at Renault, and you know, if you watch the earlier episodes of the Cruel Wall, I was highly, you know, trying to egg him on to do well, and because he was doing shit. But now I think all hope's lost with K-Mag. I really do. Unfortunately, he's just not delivering. Yeah, he outraced his teammate and he finished a position ahead, but what did he do to get there? It was reckless, really, in some moves, you know. But anyway, K-Mag, you're not in my good books anymore, I'm afraid, and you are going to score. I mean, he's not really had that good a run of points. They've been steadily going down. But yeah, I'm not going to score you any. 0, K-Mag, 0, because driving like a bit of a dick. Next up was Romain Grosjean P13. Been a late move on Gasly for P13 towards the end, and that was really it, really. He got pushed off at the start and ended up last, and was 18th and made an early pit stop and then was last again, and fuck knows what else were happening. But yeah, it was a shit race by Grosjean's standards. Considering K-Mag did get up into the top 10 briefly, Grosjean was always down there, P18, never looked into points, and yeah, just a disappointing race for Haas this weekend. They were both out in Q1 as well, let's not forget, both Haas cars. So yeah, maybe not their circuit, but I think the drivers could have done better. So Grosjean will score your points, because you weren't as bad as bloody K-Mag, but it's only going to be 2 points. Lonely race. Good move on Gasly, but that was it. P14, Pierre Gasly, and for me personally, I'm going to be so biased about this, but I personally think he was driver of the day. Yeah, he was in Formula Renault in 2013 when I was in it working with a race team, so Got to know him, not really well, but you know, you have a chat and stuff at pre-grid and getting ready for a race, and he's a nice lad. Did solid job this weekend. Stonker of a lap in Q1 to get P8. Of course, that didn't translate into Q2, where he ended up about 4/10 behind Sainz, so they lined up 14th and 15th. But to say it's your first time in a car in the Toro Rosso, solid effort, I would say. And then P14 doesn't look like a spectacular result, does it? But, you know, if we're going to get into technicalities, he did outrace his teammate, but I think had Sainz finished, he would have scored a point, perhaps. But nonetheless, you know, a great race by Gasly this weekend, and it proved that when he was trying to battle with Magnussen and trying to defend from Grosjean, he did keep it clean, he kept it tidy, he just kept it steady. He knew that he wasn't in a points-paying position, so he did battle, but he knew when to give in. And I think that shows a good drive and a good driver for doing something like that, because the likes of K-Mag would crash into the whole world if it were for P19. You know, whereas Gasly thought, you know what, I just want to bring it home, I want to have a solid race, a solid debut, get some laps under my belt. And he thought with his head, you know, he thought things through, I personally believe anyway. So, a great debut for Gasly. Kept it clean, kept it tight. He didn't put a wheel wrong in any of the sessions, I don't think. He might have had a little spin, I think, in FP2, but everyone was doing that if he did. So, can't really knock him any points off of that. So, great debut for Pierre Gasly, taking the place of Danny Kvyat. So, Gasly there, and he's going to get 8 points. 8 points for Pierre Gasly. Great stuff, Gasly. Well done. P15, Jolie off Palmer. Spinley off Palmer. Whatever the off Palmer, he was fucking going for it this weekend, wasn't it? He was shit in P12, I think, qualified, so that was crap. Was racing round in about 15th for pretty much all the race. Got back up to about 11th or 12th, behind Hulkenberg, who was P11. And then he spun. We don't know what happened with that spin, but it looked like an error because they didn't show a replay of it, so I'd imagine there was nothing to show. There wasn't any contact. So he spun. And then got going again, and then K-Mag was attacking him, and then he spun again, trying to overtake K-Mag, and he just thought, what are you doing, you absolute lemon? And it was just that moment on the radio when they just went over and just went, is the car okay? And he's like, yeah, it's fine, I can keep going. And he just like, I think that was a sound of dejection, and I think I've lost my F1 drive here, lads, now. Well, to be honest, mate, you'd lost it already, because Sainz has taken your place. But yeah, Jolie off Palmer, what the fuck are you doing? What, honestly, what are you doing? You spin twice in like half a lap, although it does count as 2 separate laps, because, you know, it was the lap previous, then turn 1 at the next lap, you dick. Anyway, not to worry, Jolie off Palmer, 2 spins, no points. No point at all, haven't you? So, Jolie off Palmer, you're going to get a solid spin! I'm going to write spin on the crawl wall. There we go. That's all. Sum his race up in one word. It's spin. Anyway, Nico Hulkenberg, P16. Now, yes, Palmer outraced him. Oh, magic. But no, unfortunately for Hulkenberg, he qualified 8th. Qualified 8th. Lost out on the line at the start. He got pushed wide. He got tapped and things, and it just was a bit clumsy start. He was down to 11th then, and that's where he stayed all the race, outside the points, unfortunately. Had to make an early pit stop as well. He was also reporting things flashing up on the dash, so maybe his car wasn't 100%, and then within like the last 4 or 5 laps he came in and made another pit stop because his tyres had just died. And that was that, unfortunately, down to P16. I didn't even think they were going to bother bringing him back out after he pitted that late, because he wasn't going to get any positions, but nonetheless, he came back out in P17, finished P16. Wow, the amazement. But yeah, a bad race for Hulkenberg. A bad race for Hulkenberg. The car might be to blame, but, you know, I can't really do much. So, Hulkenberg, I'm afraid it's going to be just 2 points. Just 2 points, and that's only for your qualifying efforts because you got into Q3 again. Next up was Pascal Wehrlein, and another one of my drivers of the day. Gave Sebastian Vettel a lift back after Vettel had decided to have an intermingle with Lance Stroll, shall we say. And yeah, gave him a lift back, and it just goes to show that no matter what you do, you know, what team you drive for, front or back of the grid, you're always happy to lend a hand and give someone a lift back. Yeah, so there we go. A great race by Pascal Wehrlein for that very reason and that reason alone. So Pascal Wehrlein, you are going to get 2 points for your race because it was fairly lonely. But I'm going to give you 5 bonus points for giving Vettel a lift back and giving us a bit of entertainment at the final Malaysian Grand Prix. So Pascal Wehrlein, 7 points. Well done. Next up was Marcus Ericsson, his teammate. Only driver to finish 2 laps down. Pascal Wehrlein did finish 1 lap down. So proving that, you know, he must have been like a good 30 odd seconds behind his teammate. So fucking hell. Had a bit of an off, which they showed a replay of, and yeah, you're just like, you're racing around in last, mate. What are you falling off the track for? Had a spin in practice as well, I believe, and I think he's the next one to go, you know. I can seriously see Leclerc ending up in the Sauber seat. Not that I want Leclerc to end up in the Sauber seat, because I think he deserves a better seat, such as a Haas. But, you know, if it is to end up anywhere, Sauber, get rid of Ericsson, get a Ferrari young driver in. Come on, you had it here first. So yeah, Marcus Ericsson, I'm going to give you none. No points. No points again, because it was just shit. Absolutely pointless. Next up was the first of the finishers, and technically only non-finish of the race, because one didn't start. But that was Carlos Sainz, running around the sort of tail end of the top 10, between 7th and 10th, I would say. Perhaps had he not had the issue that he had with an engine problem, we believe, he could have maybe scraped 10th, maybe, as Ocon had all his incidents, including an incident with Sainz as well. Sainz I do blame for the incident with Ocon, but we never saw any replays of it as such from Sainz's point of view, and we also never saw it under investigation, so I don't know if it was ever investigated. So I don't know, it might be a no stewards action on that one. I don't know, to be honest, what happened there, but nonetheless, I personally think it was Sainz's fault, because on board Ocon's camera, he left a car's width and still got ploughed into. But that's just me. A shit race though for Sainz nonetheless, I must say. Car was crap anyway. And yeah, his new teammates up there with him, on pace with him. So yeah, watch your back, Sainz. And Carlos Sainz, you are going to get... Where are you? There you are, Carlos Sainz Jr. After 12 points last race, I'm only going to give you 3 this race. 3 points, I think, because you could have maybe scraped a point but didn't. And then the final one, the DNS, that did not start, Kimi Raikkonen. I'm so glad now, actually, he didn't get pole. He was half a tenth away from it. Really wanted him to get pole, but got it at so much more had he been on pole position, and then that had have happened. In terms of, he had, I believe it's the same issue as what Vettel had in the qualifying and free practice. Believed to be, not 100% sure, but whatever it was, it put him out of the race before it even began. He got to the grid, reported an issue, fucked, get it sent off the grid. So that was it. So Ferrari had a chance there to win the race with another driver other than the golden shower, but didn't work out. So shit race by Ferrari, shit weekend by Ferrari standards, really. So yeah, Kimi Raikkonen, I'm gonna have to score you 5 points, mate, just based on your, well, 5 points based on your qualifying, 2 points for just because I like you and because you're unlucky again. So 7 points for Kimi, because the last 2 races now he's not been had a chance to prove himself. After a flying getaway at Singapore, gets took out by his fucking teammate. And then this time around, Ferrari fuck him over. So yeah, shit. Absolutely shit. Anyway, that is the end of the Cruel Wall. So we'll be back next week for Japan. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. And once again, guys, thank you so much for the support with this series. And yes, the Team Cruel Wall will follow this in a couple of hours' time. I'm going to watch the touring cars, and then I'll be back. So yeah, stick around for that one, that's going to come round shortly. And also, just to bear in mind that this Cruel Wall will be going somewhere next year. It will be happening next year. I'm going to do a video on that for the finale. So there's going to be a few videos coming up for the last episode. Of course, there's this one, the Cruel Wall, the Team Cruel Wall, the regular Cruel Wall. And then I'll also be making an announcement video as to where you'll be able to find this next year. So I thought I'd give you a quick heads up on that. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and as always, thanks so much for the support. Really means a lot. I love to read your comments, no matter what they say, even if you completely disagree with me and call me a tosser. I don't care. I love it. I have a good laugh with you guys, and I enjoy the banter in the comments section, and I enjoy making these videos. And thanks a lot, guys, so much, and I will see you again soon. Much love.